Hello friends, welcome to this channel. This time Mimin will tell you about a film entitled A Bittersweet Life. This film tells the story of a mafia member who takes revenge against his own gang because of a trivial mistake that made him tortured and expelled from the mafia gang. Okay, without further ado, let's start the story. At night, a man named Sun-woo was seen eating at a hotel owned by his boss. An employee came to him while giving a message to Sun-woo to take care of Sun-woo's business and then rushed to the room in question. Before that, he invited his right-hand man, Min-gi, to come along. After arriving at a room, he saw three men. Because working hours at the hotel were over, it was time for the guests to leave the hotel. However, these three people didn't want to listen to Sun-woo, so Sun-woo must expel them by force. The next day, Sun-woo was invited to eat with the boss, Mr. Kang, who is the head of the biggest mafia gang in South Korea. It seems that Kang really trusts Sun-woo, considering that Sun-woo has been his personal employee or right-hand man for 7 years. Sun-woo's discipline and obedience made him. Kang believes that Sun-woo is his best member. Then a man comes to meet them. His name is Moon-suk, the same as Sun-woo. Moon-suk is Kang's right-hand man. But his character is inversely proportional to Sun-woo. When he was about to eat something rotten, he was thrown out by Kang because he was careless, as if he was allowed to come in and eat. Then he appeared and left them. After that, Kang gave Sun-woo an important mission, namely to spy on and monitor his girlfriend because he had business abroad, so Kang ordered Sun-woo to guard his girlfriend. The next day, Sun-woo came to Kang's girlfriend's place. When he was in the house, how surprised he was to see the beautiful face of the woman was identified as Hee-soo, a talented student majoring in art, so amazed by Sun-woo's eyes that he couldn't look at anything else other than Hee-soo's face. After that, Hee-soo got a call from someone asking him to go out. Before leaving, Sun-woo gave him a business card for Hee-soo to call whenever he needed Sun-woo because of Kang's orders, which required Sun-woo to always accompany Hee-soo whenever Hee-soo needed him. Then a man picked up Hee-soo there. Sun-woo continued to follow them wherever they went. After that, it was shown that Sun-woo and Monsu appeared there and told Sun-woo that the three people who were really killed yesterday were the subordinates of the boss of another mafia gang named Beck. In fact, Beck was having a good relationship with Kang. Coincidentally, he appeared and got a call from Beck, but to arrange the person who answered there was good and wanted to know the intention of eliminating his subordinates, but in an annoyed tone. Sun-woo said that if he wanted to talk to him, Beck had to meet him directly. If he wanted to talk to him, Beck had to meet him directly, angry and annoyed. After that, Sun-woo was seen accompanying Hee-soo to lunch. Day after day, they have gone through it together. Just looking at Hee-soo is enough to make Sun-woo's heart so bright. To the point, Sun-woo keeps his tastes in check. The next day, when you come to the hotel, Sun-woo sees Beck with Moon-suk waiting for her arrival. Even though Beck is also the boss of another gang, to protect his boss, Sun-woo forcefully expels Beck. Hearing about this, Moon-suk was very angry. A member should not say that. However, Sun-woo said that all this was just a waste of time. Meanwhile, now there is a schedule for the Hee-soo middle course. Hearing about this, Beck was very angry with Sun-woo. Then, it was designer Hee-soo. However, suddenly he turned around because someone met him. Story, get out of the man's car. Likewise with the middle Sun-woo. Not long after that, from above, Hee-soo told the man that Sun-woo had left. On the way, Sun-woo almost crashes the car into the man Hee-soo meets.
Setelah berapa
After a
lama,
long
ia
time,
kemudian
he then
tersadar
realized
bahwa
that the
mobil pria
man's
tersebut
car was heading
mengarah
back to
balik
Hee-soo's
ke rumah
house.
Hee-soo. Dengan
In a
tergesa,
hurry,
Sun-woo pun
Sun-woo
kembali
turned
mendatangi
around and
rumah
went back to
Hee-soo.
Hee-soo's
Betapa
house.
kagetnya Sun-woo
What a
mengetahui pria
surprise!
tersebut
Sun-woo
berada
found
di
out that
rumah
the man
Hee-soo.
was at Hee-soo's
Sun-woo
house.
lalu
Sun-woo
menghajarnya.
then beats him. When he was about to finish off the man, Hee-soo protected him. Then, Sun-woo also remembered something. If something happens to Hee-soo, Sun-woo is required to report to boss Kang. However, if Sun-woo reports, Sun-woo is worried that something bad will happen to Hee-soo. Because after all, he really loves her. This affair needs to be eliminated so that it will be a disaster for Sun-woo. After that, Sun-woo ordered the man to stay as far away from Hee-soo as possible. Otherwise, he would kill him very cruelly. Hearing this actually broke Hee-soo's heart. Disappointed, he then expels Sun-woo. Sun-woo felt annoyed and just left. On the way, a group of young men were seen looking for mistakes. Sun-woo, who was angry, chased him and beat them one by one. Then he went to a parking lot there. Sun-woo felt that someone was following him. Soon a man named Mu-sung came out. Mu-sung was someone sent by the back to convey a message to Sun-woo. If Sun-woo apologized right now, then his business with the boss would be considered finished. But if not, something bad will happen to Sun-woo. Instead of obeying, Sun-woo said,
그냥 가라.
On the other hand, it shows boss Kang meeting Hee-soo because he felt uncomfortable about yesterday's problem. Hee-soo complained about everything to him instead of being angry with Hee-soo for bringing another man. Kang actually felt disappointed with Sun-woo for not telling him about this. Long story short, when Sumo rested, the enemy, someone ordered from back and his men came to Sun-woo's apartment. He took him and tied him up to be executed.
김 실장. 천하의 김 실장. 지금 무슨 짓을 저지르고 있는지.
But before that happened, boss Kang called Beck to take over the torture by their own gang. Like it or not, for the sake of warmth between the Mafia, Beck had to obey Kang Sun-woo. Then he was arrested and brought to boss Kang, where Kang said, why didn't Sun-woo contact him when Hee-soo was hit? The problem then was that boss Kang expelled Sun-woo from his team and ordered Mon-suk to torture Sun-woo. Hearing this, Sun-woo was very devastated for 7 years accompanying Kang. Now he had to end up humiliated just because of this trivial thing. After that, Sun-woo received very cruel torture from the enemy. Not only that, Sun-woo was also buried alive. Luckily, Sun-woo survived, but this wasn't over yet. Turns out he was still there. Sun-woo was taken into an empty house, where he often received ridicule and insults from enemies and other members of the enemy, then gave Sun-woo the phone to contact boss Kang, to beg for forgiveness, but Sun-woo is not that stupid. The depraved behavior of the boss gang asks for forgiveness, but Sun-woo is not that stupid. The depraved behavior of the boss gang takes out the cell phone battery and spoke as if he was on the phone. When he appeared, something unexpected happened. Long story short, Sun-woo managed to escape using a car, and then Moon-suk told the boss about this. Kang hearing this, boss Kang was very angry, knowing that Sun-woo's escape was a disaster for him. After that, Sun-woo's right-hand man got a call from Sun-woo to bring him clothes and some money, which Sun-woo would buy a firearm. Min-gi then brought it. Only Min-gi is the only person who can be trusted now. Sun-woo's journey for revenge begins. Sun-woo goes to Hee-soo to give him a gift as an apology. The next day, Sun-woo goes to a weapon seller, call him Balder. Of course, buying weapons in Korea is very complicated, which is Balder only selling weapons to people he recognized. They're saying that his coming here was an order from his boss named Boss Kang too. Underlined, in order to convince Balder, Sun-woo gave his business card as proof of his membership. Balder didn't just believe it. He wanted to make sure first that boss Kang really ordered someone to buy him a weapon. Hearing this, Sun-woo started to break out in a cold sweat. If Balder calling Kang, he automatically knew he was lying, so the unexpected happened.
이 손님이 오셨구만.
Balder and two of his men died. Then Sun-woo took all the weapons that might be useful. The first thing what he did was go to the enemy at Sun-woo's site and threaten Musing to call Beck to go somewhere with the intention of trapping Beck. Like it or not, instead of having to die, Musing finally obeyed. Sun-woo, on the other side of Balder's residence, saw a man appear. Let's call him Tommy. Seeing blood scattered on the floor, Tommy was amazed. He then entered Balder's room carefully. It was clear that the figure of Balder, who was none other than Tommy's own brother, was dead in front of him, but Tommy found a business card complete with biodata that pointed to Sun-woo. Tommy immediately took the initiative to killing the person in the name of the card. On the other hand, those who were in a room were surprised because it was Sun-woo who came.
뭘 이렇게 놀래요? 평생 안 보고 살 줄 알아. 뭐라는 거야? 넌 도대체 나한테 왜 그런 거야? 알겠어, 선우 씨. 난 아직 개초까지 봤구만.
The next step is that Sun-woo called Kang and said that you have chosen the wrong enemy. Pay attention to yourself.
Mendengar hal
Hearing
itu,
this,
Boss Kang
became
cemas.
worried.
Jika sungguh berkata
If he
demikian,
really said
maka
that, then his
ancamannya
threat was not
bukan
random.
sembarangan.
He
Ia
then
lalu
met Min
menemui
Ji-ai,
yaitu
who is
sang
Sunwo's
kakak
right-hand
untuk
man,
menginterogasinya.
to
Namun Min Ji
interrogate him,
menutupi
but
semua
Min
hal tentang
Ji-ai
Sunwo
covered up
karena
everything
Sunwo
about
sudah
Sun
mendianggap
Woo
sebagai
because
anaknya
Min
sendiri.
Ji-ai already
Akhirnya,
considers
Min Ji
Sun Woo
pun
like his
pingsan.
own
Kini
older
Sunwo
brother.
sudah terlihat
In the
di
end,
depan
Min
hotel
Gi, he
milik Boss
fainted,
Kang.
and now
Terlihat
all of
juga
Kang's
Tommy
men
yang
were
sedang
seen in front of
mempersenjatai diri
Boss
di
Kang's
situ.
hotel.
Untungnya, ia gak
Tommy
melihat
was
kalau
also
Sunwo
seen
baru
there
saja
arming himself.
melewatinya. Di dalam,
Luckily,
semua
he
anggota
didn't
sudah
see
siap
Sun Woo
untuk
just
menyambut
passed it
Sunwo.
inside. All the
Pulang
members
masuk,
are
dia
ready
akan
to
menunggu
welcome
di garis
Sun
paling
Woo, and
depan.
Munsukal will be
Namun,
waiting
sebelum
at the
dia
front of the
bersiap, Sunwo
line.
sudah terlebih
But he is
dahulu
prepared that
menyambutinya.
Sun Woo will come to meet him first.
누구야?
Finally, Munsuk died. Sun Woo rushed to the top floor where Boss Kang was. Long story short, they met there. Boss Kang asked why Sun Woo had done things to this extent. Sun Woo then answered by turning the question around. Why did Kang have the heart to do such a cruel thing to him even though he had 7 years? Sun Woo has always been obedient and loyal. However, because of something trivial, he had to be expelled and even received very cruel torture. Trust, friendship and male bonds can be destroyed even though they have been built for years. Yep, that's all just because if women were obedient to Kang, maybe they wouldn't be like that now, said Boss Kang. Hearing this, Sun Woo was very disappointed. All his sacrifices were in vain. Sun Woo said, "How funny it is that humans can forget 1,000 kindnesses with just one mistake." So Sun Woo killed him. Sun Woo's revenge was finally avenged, but he couldn't calm down because of Kang's members were still gathered together, plus Musing and his men were also present, so another shootout broke out. Shortly after Sun Woo slaughtered all of Kang's men, Tommy appeared carrying weapons in a very critical condition. Sun Woo couldn't do much in front of Tommy. Sun Woo took out his cell phone to call Hee-soo. The last thing he wanted was to hear Hee-soo's voice, even if only for a moment. In the end, Sun Woo died and ended our experiment.